guys, so in today's video we are going to be talking about should the Vancouver Canucks trade JT Miller. Many of you might be wondering why this is even a conversation since JT Miller has been the Canucks' best scorer for the last 3 seasons now. But while this is a conversation because of the Canucks' new management in Jim Rutherford as the president of the hockey ops and Patrick Allvin as the new GM. In their last press conference, Jim Rutherford said that this: a team that's up against the cap and not in the playoffs is not a great thing. Some big decisions are coming up. Rutherford is alluding to the fact that the Canucks pretty much have no cap space and that they aren't even close to being Stanley Cup contenders. So the sad reality is that the Canucks are probably going to have to go through a small rebuild over the next couple years, which is why they're considering trading Miller. JT Miller is 28, turning 29 a little later this year, and he is in the prime of his career. In this season, he is comfortably producing at a point per game pace, and he literally scored a hat-trick just a few nights ago. But the problem is that Miller is only signed until the end of next season. Although with everything I've just said about him, it would be obvious for the Canucks to re-sign him, right? Sadly, it just isn't that simple. That's because in that 2022-23 offseason, the Canucks also need to re-sign Brock Boeser, who's 4 years younger than Miller, and Bo Horvat, who's 2 years younger. Miller is easily the best player out of both Bo Horvat and Brock Boeser, but as previously mentioned, the Canucks are going to have to go through a rebuild over the next couple years to become truly competitive. And by the time that happens, Miller will be in his early to mid-30s, which is when the production and especially the value of a player just plummets, which is why this is a perfect time to trade JT Miller. But the question is, what would you get for him on the market? There has already been a lot of interest in JT Miller from teams like the Calgary Flames, the New York Rangers, the Boston Bruins, and that's just naming a few. Canucks' prospect cupboard is pretty much non-existent, which is what they are going to try to fix with this JT Miller trade. Explained by this tweet, it is reported the Canucks want 3 to 4 assets and or prospects for Miller. The general consensus is that JT Miller is worth 1 first-round pick, a couple of good prospects, and 1 or 2 ready-to-play in the NHL players, and the Canucks are especially going to want blue liners over offensive players because they really need help in that department. Ever since JT Miller joined the Canucks in the 2019-2020 season, he has been a huge part of this team on and off the ice. JT Miller has been the one player that the Canucks could rely on no matter what. And in the short term, his loss is going to be truly painful to stomach. But in the long term, he could be an essential building block in assuring the long-term success of this Canucks team.